There's a place that lies directly between where you've been and where you're going. It's the place in the middle, the place where your past and future connect. Hawkeye Community College is that place, connecting you to great faculty, engaged students, and four-year destinations like the University of Northern Iowa. Every masterpiece starts with a blank canvas, and every success story begins with an empty page. Start writing your story today. Hawkeye Community College. Connect.
I think we're all good to go.
Okay.
So if you want to start by introducing yourself.
Okay. I'm Alyssa Fruchtenicht. I'm the manager of behavioral health services at Unity Point Health Blackhawk Grundy Mental Health Center. Under that role, I oversee kind of two primary programs, traditional outpatient therapy services here from Blackhawk Grundy Mental Health Center, and outpatient therapy services housed at alternate locations. So our primary locations for that are Waterloo Schools, Cedar Falls District Schools, Hawkeye Community College, Waterloo Women's Center for Change is also our alternate locations where we have therapists housed, and I oversee the therapists under that.
Awesome. So things are kind of crazy right now. But, you know, we're looking at May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think it's only fitting that that's what's coming up, because I think that, you know, we've talked about physical health and safety and all that stuff, but there is a number being done on our mental health as a society. So I guess, you know, how important do you see mental health? Where do you see that fitting in? And also, how has that kind of just changed what you do?
Yep. Very important mental health is. I think we're tasked during this time where we've got social distancing happening to make sure that we're staying connected to people in maybe new ways that we are not used to having that be our primary method of staying connected to our support system. So while we are physically distancing, we have to, you know, kind of take it into context that we're not socially forced to distance in terms of not being able to make contact with people at all. So I think it's important to really focus on maybe and take inventory about the impact what's happening in our community and COVID-19 is having on our mental health and how we feel like we're doing personally, to make sure that we're taking check of that and reaching out and incorporating practices that just help us to feel good, and making sure that we're reaching out to supports through new ways, maybe ways we're not used to, but still maintaining that contact.
Yeah. And I feel like technology has just grown in being more important than ever, be it like a phone call or, you know, I think I've talked to my grandparents more in the past month than I have, you know, in the past year.
Yeah. And while technology can be really, really great, we also have to be careful that we're not over inundating ourselves.
Yeah.
Information that stopped being helpful to how we're functioning. And so I think that's an important piece too. We can have kind of the news at our fingertips, and there's some beauty to that, but there's also some challenges that poses in being kind of overdone with being reminded all the time about what's happening. And if that's not being helpful to us, to make sure that we also take a break and we use that technology in a beneficial way and recognize maybe areas where it's draining us and we need to pause.
Yeah. And especially now, I do feel like, even personally, I'm drained more quickly than I ever have been when it comes to looking at, you know, keeping up to date. Like I live in Iowa, I have family in North Carolina, Florida, and California. And it's kind of like, how much do I want to, you know, keep track of everything versus just focus on what I need to focus on?
Yep. Yeah, we talk a lot about, you know, with really anybody struggling in general, about focusing on what we can control. Focusing on areas that we have an ability to impact, that we're making a difference by physically distancing ourselves, that we can wear masks, that we can wash our hands, We can reach out digitally with people. So you're very right that we sometimes have to acknowledge where we can't have an impact and what's outside of our control, and put our energy into things that we can do and we can have an impact on, to give us an area that we can make an impact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think I've learned that I've had to just like break things up into small little bite-sized pieces.
Yeah.
Because we're all doing something that is new.
Yes. We've all taken on a lot of new things, whether it's, trying to juggle, working from home and having kids at home and doing schoolwork and, not having as many opportunities to get out and do things that we're used to doing, and having to find new ways to interact or, hang out as a family, and incorporating new routines. Mm-hmm. Or, maybe routines were really set before, and now we kind of don't have a routine, but we want to find a routine within a fluid routine, and really reconsidering kind of what our day-to-day looks like for this temporary time that we're in.
Yeah. So being that, we are isolated but people's kind of mental health is still strained, have you all, do y'all have, I know we talked, y'all have, sorry, I know that y'all have a hotline that people can call, but I didn't know how that transition looked for you guys, if you were open, if you were doing telehealth, kind of where you guys were.
Yeah. It's a great question. So here at the Mental Health Center, we are very much still here. We recognize that, and we absolutely want to continue to provide services to our community, because there are concerns and struggles, and this is a challenging time. And even outside of that, we want to make sure that we're still there for anybody that's having any kind of concerns regarding their mental health. And so the vast majority of our services have gone either telehealth or telephonic, and being able to reach patients and individuals struggling that way. So all of our programs, our programs are still up and running. We are still reaching out. We're still having contacts. We're still having appointments. They're just looking a little bit different than what we have done in the past.
Mm-hmm. And then, like, if people do not have strong internet or a good cell phone connection, that sort of thing, do they still have the option to come in if they are?
If we can't get you any other way, we have screening processes that are happening at the door, where we're screening to make sure that you're healthy, we're healthy, for all patients and any visitors coming in. But absolutely, if we've realized that we can't get you on the phone, we can't, we don't have an internet connection, we don't have a phone, we'll definitely work with people to see about how we can make those appointments still continue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then thinking about schools, because I know you work with a lot of like students and schools.
Yes.
I could not imagine being in high school or just any type of schooling right now.
Yeah.
And making this huge transition. How, I guess, how are you still working with schools and reaching out to them?
Absolutely. Yeah. So those districts that we're in, with the Cedar Falls and the Waterloo district, are still very much providing school to students. So we're still very much on our end also providing care to students. It just looks different. Much the same as our outpatient therapists here housed at the Mental Health Center. We're offering those more virtually to be able to still have those connections in a way that works best for that student and family, and still collaborating with our school buildings and our school counselors and our administrators to say, we're here, we're reaching out to families frequently to see how they're doing, if they've been involved in our care, and do let us know if you are interacting with students or families that are still struggling, or maybe have new struggles that have come up and could benefit from getting connected to some therapy and counseling, that we will get them scheduled to be able to have those virtual appointments with us. So still making sure that we're providing the same level of services. We're still available. We're still here taking referrals, and we're still having appointments for those students enrolled in those districts, and to certainly reach out if there's any concerns that we can help work through.
Yeah. And that's good to know that like y'all are still there during this time.
Yeah.
Do you have any like tips. I hate using the word tips, but just like ideas of how, especially student-based, to help, things to keep in mind. When you're helping, if you're a parent, when you're helping your student kind of make this transition.
Yes. I think as parents, our children and adolescents look to the adults in their world as a gauge for how do we react to this, and how do we deal with this? How do we deal with change? How do we deal with any kind of change, whether it be a pandemic kind of change or just normal day-to-day life changes that may be occurring? And so as parents, to kind of check in with ourselves, or as guardians or adults interacting with any child or adolescents, to check in with ourselves to see how we're doing, and also check in with those kids and those adolescents. I think it's important to set routines as much as we can, to have as consistent bedtimes and wake times, and a semblance of predictability. In times of uncertainty, we know that having some predictability to our day helps cope with that. We also recommend managing anxiety. So practicing self-care. We talked about a little bit ago, kind of limiting our media exposure, our exposure to news that isn't helpful to us as a whole family, and having open and honest but age-appropriate conversations about what's happening or what we're experiencing, or maybe what's changing in our world, as long as it's tailored kind of to the age of the child or the adolescent that you're talking to. And I think too, I talk a lot with adolescents and kids about finding ways to recognize and to have something that is accomplished during the day. Something that feels fulfilling, something that feels good that we get done, can have an impact on us overall, just feeling better. And so kind of setting those things in place can have an impact when we're having struggles.
Yeah. And we kind of a personal library plug. We have a website called WPL at Home, and we have a COVID-19 page and a mental health page as well, where we've just kind of put some stuff that we've received. But there is Scholastic put out a magazine that's available to everybody, which details ways to positively talk to your child about COVID-19.
Yes.
And it's geared towards younger kids. It is Scholastic, but it was a really great resource.
Yes.
And it was just not putting, a happy-go-lucky positive spin on it, but, good information.
Yes.
So we're trying to collect stuff like that as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And your resource, that's a great thing to check out when you're not quite sure the words to use or the language to say to explain this to kids or adolescents, to look at those resources, because there are ample. Scholastic has them, Child Mind Institute has them, NAMI, our National Alliance on Mental Illness, will have it, CDC has them. And so I think that we've got a great gamut of resources to pull from, to take that information and have those discussions and those conversations tailored to those ages.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I could only imagine going through this and also having no clue what's going on.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So I'm glad that those resources are still available and people can get to them safely as well.
Yes.
Cause that's been the newest hurdle.
Yes.
Trying to figure that out.
Yeah. How do we access the things we're used to in new and innovative ways?
Yes. Especially things that are as important as mental health. And I do hope that people will put that on par with physical health at the moment, because I think, who knows what's going to happen over the next few months. So
Yeah. Yep. And I think we have to, I think it's important too, when we acknowledge our feelings and saying, acknowledging I'm likely to feel frustrated during this, and I'm likely to feel stressed out or worried or overwhelmed at times, and that's okay. And labeling those feelings, recognizing them for what they are and accepting them, can help us to work through them, whether it's we're helping a kid or an adolescent label how they're feeling when we're recognizing some frustration or some irritability or, some worries, and even checking in with ourselves as adults. to really reflect on where we are and what we need to be able to help us go forward. And when we identify what we need, to make sure that we reach out to those people that can help us and do those healthy things that help us.
Yeah.
Whether it's, stepping outside and sitting in the sun.
That's a big one.
It's a big thing, those that can be small, but can make a major impact. To go for a brief walk, to, jump up and down in your living room, really like anything that just really can get us up and going and feeling good while we're practicing some physical distancing.
Yeah, I have to say, I've said it a million times and I'll say it again. I am so grateful that this happened after winter.
Yeah, where we kind of have a little bit of sunshine joining us.
Oh, yes. If it was, this was my first winter here. I'm from North Carolina, so, there was all that. But if I was stuck inside, like restricted to inside, and there was snow on the ground, I think I might have lost it.
Yeah. Yes, it does. The sunshine definitely helps.
Yes. So I will absolutely back that up. Just go sit outside if you want to.
Yes.
But I really, I think you all have some great resources, and I think it's important to really focus on like promoting mental health in May.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think we're facing some times that are unprecedented, and it can take a toll on how we're feeling and how we're doing, and know that reaching out for help is okay. We want you to reach out for help, and it's okay to be having some struggles, and we're here to help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's there's something bad about asking for help in this, or help. Yeah. And then I guess, I know we focused a lot on like COVID-19, social distancing and isolating, and how to access stuff. Is there anything else you want to add? Did we miss anything?
I would say if you or anyone in your family are having any kind of struggles, absolutely don't hesitate to call us here at the Mental Health Center. If you're new to us, we'll get you connected with our intake department. They'll talk you through how to access that first appointment. If it's for a child or an adolescent, they'll talk you through your options about who our providers are that provide care to kids and adolescents, and how to get connected with that person to start talking about some of those first appointments and what that would look like. So reach out, take care of yourselves, and with your loved ones, check in with yourself, and do things that feel good. Yeah. That help you to do better.
Yeah. Yeah. Comfort food is definitely a must right now.
All the ways, yes.
So, I just want to thank you for coming on and sharing this information with us.
Thank you.
So, and stay safe.
Yes, you as well. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.